Chris Gardner.
Chris Gardner.
Mr. Gardner is an entrepreneur, international best-selling author, and award-winning film producer.
There's never been a generation better prepared to embrace, accept, or adapt to change than this generation right here.
That why is there to make us all mindful that it is you and your responsibility, you and your opportunity to create the life that you want for you and your family.
We all want to take strides. You take strides when there are no obstacles, no challenges, nothing's in the way. But sometimes you got to take those baby steps when you don't know.
Let's all try to inject the power of one into any and every discussion and conversation and interaction with other people. And always ask ourselves, what if it was me on the other side of this decision?
This decade has seen more upheaval in the last 2 years than in my lifetime. How do you hope we move forward?
Let's go back a little bit. Okay, I told you I'm doing this thing in schools now.
Right.
Let's just go back 20 years. The children born in the year 2000 were conceived in a storm, pretty much like we're in right now. 1999, we were all freaked out about what? Something called Y2K. Remember that? It turns out to be a non-event, but at that time we all thought the world was going to end. The computers were not going to work, the utilities were going to collapse, the banks were going to fail.
Yep.
It turned out to be a non-event. My point is the children born in the year 2000 were conceived in a storm. Fast forward on that timeline 1 year, just as many of those children were learning how to walk, what happens? 9/11. Fast forward 7 years, what happens? Global financial crises. Fast forward 12 years, what happens? Politics, polarization, and a pandemic. My point is, those young people are probably better prepared to embrace, create, or demand change than any generation to come before them. And those young people, that is where we need to be making a direct investment in getting them ready.
So to start us off, please tell us a little bit about yourself. Describe who you are and give us a good understanding of who you are.
Well, first of all, let me say this. I am absolutely honored to be with you and all the folks out here today working on the front lines in healthcare. This is an absolute honor for me personally. And not to belabor the point, but I do have to stress this. At the beginning of this pandemic, you had a whole lot of folks saying, well, we're all in the same boat now. I will submit to you that no, man, we're not in the same boat. We are in the same storm. There's a whole lot of different boats out here. There's the boat full of people who have had the luxury of working from home with whatever issues and challenges that presents, which is totally different from the boats full of specifically healthcare providers and first responders who've had to put their health and the health of their families at risk simply by going to work, which is totally separate again from the boats full of people who know there's no work for them to go back to.
Can you explain the why in happiness and also how that relates to owning it, which is one of the themes that we're really embracing this year?
Susie, you know, it's so funny. I've had people stop me on the street all around the world and say to me, you know you spell happiness wrong. Susie, that why is there for a reason. That why is there to make us all mindful that it is you and your responsibility, you and your opportunity to create the life that you want for you and your family. Okay? That's why that why is there. You are not going to get an email. You're not going to get a text. You're not going to get an instant message that says to you every day, okay, we got to go to work. Okay? No one's coming to tell you, turn that television off and focus on your family. No one's going to come and tell you, put that email down and spend some time quietly with yourself. No one's going to come and tell you that. That's why that why is there, Susie, right? And this whole idea of owning it, Man, I learned that lesson, Susie, in that bathroom in Oakland, California, where I and my son had to call home too many nights. And I had to wash my little boy up every day and look in that mirror over the sink and ask myself some hard questions. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? What's going to happen next? The hardest question, Susie, was, how did I get here? The answer was brutal. I drove here. I had something to do with the situations and circumstances that had become my life. But the second I said it, Susie, I knew that's the key. Because if I drove here, then I can drive out of here. You can't change something until you own it. And I know a lot of people right now are sitting there saying, well, I didn't drive here. I didn't choose this. No, none of us did. But you can't change it. And you can change it only if you own it and say, I have the power